Okay, testing. Hello. Happy New Year. This year, I'm going to try and do a bit more of live reading reactions. I saw some interesting... Okay, before we get into this, what kind of inspired this is that I saw YouTube in particular, a lot of people were doing the like things we need to leave behind in 2024, like bookish things we need to leave behind. And I saw a handful of people talking about like rant reviews and how we need to leave those behind. And I think that those are coming from people who have never watched a rant review. I do agree that like people reading the same book and like I think my issue is more that it's like people who are not even in the bookish sphere come in and make a rant video about a book, and I'm like, where did you come from? Are you doing this because you've seen a bunch of viral videos and you want to cash in? Looking at all the Colleen Hoover people that aren't within the book community, I understand that, but when it comes to just like wanting to talk about bad books, I actually saw quite a few interesting comments talking about why people like live reading reactions or like in detailed reviews that were negative and enjoyed books that they would never normally pick up, because number one, they're never normally going to pick up the books, but they kind of want to know what a story is about. And also one that I found interesting, I saw someone comment about how negative reviews actually take the pressure off of a reader. Like if you don't have a lot of time to read and you're feeling bad about that, and your TBR every time you watch like a recommendation video just keeps getting longer and you keep getting anxious and you keep feeling bad. Sometimes watching a negative review, it's like, whew, don't have to put this on my TBR. Like you can engage in funny book content without feeling FOMO. It's almost like the opposite of FOMO. You are being invited in. So that being said, this is not, hopefully, I haven't read these books yet, but hopefully this is not going to be a negative video in any way, but I just kind of wanted to mention that in that I want to do more in-depth reading reactions, whether that is positive, whether that is negative. And we're starting off with this week. I am now on to my third book of the year, and so far I haven't read a bad book yet. I haven't read a book that I didn't like, so that's something. I've got a book sitting here in the sun, so you can't see the title, that I'm so intrigued by. I was going to just eat it up and read it. It's just like a random weekend here. I had nothing to do. So I thought, ooh, that's what I'm going to do today. It's freezing. I'm going to stay inside. I went to the dentist this morning. So like get a teeth cleaning, read a good book. But then I realized, no, I need witnesses because we need to investigate this together. So we're going to start a new book today together. But speaking of new things, quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is the one and only Squarespace. So if you are in the new year thinking of hosting any kind of online presence, Squarespace is the way to go. Whether it's the easy ability to schedule your content, to make email campaigns and reach out to your followers in an easy, interesting way. There's a comment section. You can link your social media accounts really easily. There's monetization features, so not only can you sell things, but you can offer things like online courses or consulting and things like that. Really easy to set up, wonderful free templates so you can set up your website so easily. So as usual, you can go to squarespace.com/caricanread to get 10% off of your first website or domain. Highly recommend, been using them for years. Thank you so much to Squarespace. So the book that we're reading, I heard about this book first from a couple people who are within the kind of romantasy realm, and this book is technically a romance, I believe. So I was kind of like, yeah, that tracks. Like, not super interested, but like, good to know that you read a good book. Not really my thing. And then I started to hear people who I look to for like high fantasy sci-fi recommendations, and they started talking about how, wow, this isn't what I normally read, but I'm obsessed. Every person I have seen, granted, if you didn't like the book, maybe you're just quiet about it, but every person I have seen mention this book has mentioned it in the sense of like, whoa, obsessed. So we're going to read it together and see what's going on. I was lucky enough to get this from Book of the Month. Also, funny story as I'm pulling this up. This is The Favorites by Layne, Fargo. So the cover, this is what the cover looks like, if you can see it. And the blurb on the top says, "To the world, they were a scandal. To each other, an obsession." And I had it like sitting in my book pile right here next to our bed. And I guess Kurt picked it up. He was like, "I just wanted to know what you were reading." Like the cover looked so even Kurt, who wouldn't touch a romance book if I paid him, was drawn to this and picked it up and read the first page. And he was like, no. It even got Kurt. All right. So this has not technically been published yet. It says that it's supposed to come out on the 14th of January, but I got it in my Book of the Month package. And I think like pre-ordered. I don't know. Anyway, it already has almost 1,000 ratings. It has 981 ratings and it is sitting at a 4.5. So let me read it to you. Oh, that's so much text. So this is a epic love story set in the sparkling, savage sphere of elite figure skating. This is why when the sci-fi people started telling me that they were into it, I was like, what? I gotta know more. This is about a woman determined to carve her own path on and off the ice. She might not have a famous name, funding, or her family's support, but Katerina Shaw has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she meets Heath Roca, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable duo on the ice. Clinging to skating and each other to escape their turbulent lives, Kat and Heath go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice dancers, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style, and roller coaster relationship, until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public obsession with Shaw and Roca, claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals. You know me, I love a book about media, all right? Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else defining her legacy either. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story. From the childhood tragedies that created her all-consuming bond with Heath to the clash of desires that tore them apart. Sensational rumors have haunted their every step for years, but the truth may be even more shocking than the headlines. Inspired by the powerful love and hate that fuel Emily Bronte's classic Wuthering Heights, The Favorites is an exhilarating dance between passion, ambition, and what it truly means to win. Oh, in we go. I just wanted to chat with you before I started it, just to give you background in case I get fully sucked in and like can't stop. I'll read you the first page. Why not? It's short. Okay. And then it continues with a transcript of interviews. So we love. All right. Today is the 10th anniversary of the worst day of my life. As if I could forget, when millions of strangers have been so eager to remind me. I'm sure you've seen the news stories, the magazine covers, the social media posts. Maybe you're planning to snuggle up on your sofa tonight with a bowl of popcorn and binge the documentary series released to commemorate the occasion. Schadenfreude and chill. Go right ahead. Enjoy the show. But don't fool yourself into thinking you know me. By now, I've heard it all. Katerina Shaw is a bitch, a diva, a sore loser, a manipulative liar, cold-blooded, a cheater, a criminal, an attention whore, an actual whore, even a murderess. Call me what you want. I don't give a damn anymore. My story is mine, and I'll tell it the same way I skated, in my own way, on my own terms, and we'll see who wins in the end. Catch you later.
You gonna count us in, or how are we gonna do this?
Okay, a check-in from page 160. I'm like a third of the way through. I just started part 3. It's a little choppier than I want it to be. It's very much like we get a chapter and then we get an excerpt from interviews regarding that chapter, and then we get another chapter, and then we get, so especially in the beginning it was a little like now we're getting into the drama. I only like one character so far, and it's a little weird because our partners, right, Heath and Kat, why can't I remember her name? We kind of knew they're like supposed to be toxic, but like both of them, I thought like, oh, maybe I actually pity Heath and like it's all gonna be, I don't know, it just isn't what I expected. I kind of don't like any of the characters. So yeah, I'm not so sure. It's also interesting that it's gotten more messy earlier than I thought it was gonna be. Like, I thought the whole thing is like this scandal at the Olympic Games, but we're already, like I said, only 160 pages. This is almost a 500-page book, and like stuff has already gone down. Like, it's already a mess. And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm drawn in and I want to know and I am eating it up. But it's different from what I expected for sure. So I will continue tomorrow. I have to go to bed now. But that's my little update on the favorites. Yeah, it's like a larger cast of characters than I thought. I thought this was really going to be just focused on these two. But the drama's a lot bigger than that, let's just say. So see you tomorrow.
I can't take it anymore. I found you waiting at the door tonight. And I'm looking for the same old bed, but you got me off my feet instead. Alright.
Okay, back home, a check-in. I went out, it's snowing. I went out to a cafe and read. I am now on part 4, page 260. So I think I read 100 pages since I last talked to you. I get it now. I expected this to be, how do I explain this? I expected the book to have a certain arc. And when that arc only lasted the first 100 pages, I was quite confused. I was like, wait. I thought, what's this scandal at the Olympic Games? What's this? What's that? Turns out there's so much more to the story. And like every time you think like, oh, that's the scandal, like this is the life-changing moment in their lives, it's not. And it just keeps getting more twisted. I'm not like obsessed like I thought I was gonna be, but I'm still only like, I just passed the halfway point. I can't imagine what else is gonna happen. I am weirded out by Heath. No spoilers here, but I am weirded out by this man. And that was unexpected. Like, starting this, wasn't expecting to feel that way. I'm so intrigued, okay? I think I'm gonna finish this right now, go for a walk once it finally stops snowing, but interested. I don't like one particular turn. It starts to get a little like, we're caring a lot about what the tabloids think, and it's just not interesting to me. But on we go. We are now, part 4 is called The Game. Catch you in a bit. Okay. What time is it? I don't even know. It's only been like 2 hours. I devoured that book, but I can't say that I liked it. How do I explain? I read about 200 pages nonstop since I last talked to you. And this took so many turns that I wasn't expecting. I sort of hated everything about it. Like, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but I just couldn't stop reading it. I do think that I had 2 big coffees in a row. I've basically had 3 shots of espresso, and that just like heightened the anxiety that I felt reading this book. I'm not satisfied. I think that so much, even though this book is 440 pages, so much happens in this book, but it goes by so fast. I wish that, I can't think of what we could cut from this book, but I feel like I wish that we had given certain things more time. Like there's death and betrayal and just like crazy stuff going down, and it's all like on to the next thing, on to the next. It wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be because of that. But if you're in a reading slump, if you want something that kind of grabs your attention, because it moves so quickly, there was never a point where I was like, oh, I can put this down, I'm a little bored. It was like every time I was thinking like, let me go take a break, it was like, what? Wait, what? What's going on? So yeah, not at all what I expected. It's not gonna be a favorite book of the year for sure, but I was enraptured and binged it. I've been having some, I think like in the beginning it took me a second. Like again, it was quite choppy with the interviews interspersed, but I think it became more natural the further along in the plot you got. But I had some issues, like the first 100 pages, I was definitely like distracted, kind of checking my phone, whatever. From 160 to the end, I didn't take a break basically, like other than walking to and from the cafe. So yeah, I mixed feelings. I was really hoping for this to be like a favorite book because everybody was saying like, whoa, socks have been blown off. Not quite, but I get like, I can't tell if it's the espresso or the book, but like my heart is pounding. Again, the ending, like I think these characters are just so not relatable. Like their drive and their ambition and their priorities in life are just so not mine that it was a little bit difficult to like understand their choices. But yeah, what an interesting little read. So, that's the favorites. Let me put this back. Yeah. Here you go. The favorites. An experience. It makes me, the only thing that makes me mad about books about athletes, but like specifically artistic athletes, is that I want to watch this. Like I was reading a book about ballet recently and I just wanted to like go on YouTube and see the performance that they were describing, but it doesn't exist. And like with this, talking about certain routines that they were doing, I was like, ugh, I want to see this. And they were describing like this one picture that like took the world by storm and blasted them into kind of fame. I want to see the picture so badly. And like I can see it, you know, in my mind's eye, but like I would love to be able to look at it for real. And yeah, so I'm like frustrated, but okay, all right. That's the favorites. Glad I read it just to like know, because I was having FOMO, but I still don't know how I feel about Heath. I still don't know how I feel about any of these characters, if I'm gonna be honest. So I'm gonna take a break, go out in this weird weather, go for a walk, and figure out what we're gonna read next. So thank you for being on my first bingeable journey. See you later. Let me know what you think if you've read it. I'm so surprised by, I can see why this isn't just for romance people. Like I thought this was a romance. This is not in any way, shape, or form. This is closer to a thriller. If the author had given each kind of twist a little bit more time to breathe, I think it would have felt more like a thriller. But this is just drama. All right, so catch you for our next read.
Will you get me through the light? Will you tell me who
Today I'm supposed to film a video talking about books. And I thought, oh, I'll just go to the dentist and then I'll go right back home and I'll film it. My lips are numb. She had to put anesthesia. So I'm gonna walk around, read a little more, and wait for this to fix itself. Anyway, I'm getting a new filling. So I don't know how good of a microphone. This microphone tends to get rid of the noise, so if you can hear this, imagine it 10 times worse. I was aware that the upstairs neighbors were going to be doing construction today and tomorrow, but I did not think they would be drilling a hole into my home. Like, they seem like they are a centimeter from breaking through my roof. So, reading, not gonna happen today. I am gonna go do some work at Kurt's office. I'm so sorry. I was gonna film a book video today even, like I was gonna do a sit down video. It's just not working out. I promise I'm gonna be doing work for a fun thing. I just got a little information about something that I'm thinking of doing. I'm being as vague as possible. I'm excited. I have a meeting next week that could be so cool. I'll see you then. All right, it got really cold and snowy out of nowhere. So, yeah, I wasn't able to continue reading. I just read a little bit after I went to the dentist. So I am only on page 153 of, I didn't even tell you what I was reading, 5 Broken Blades. So what's going on here? I'm rereading this because the next book came out in the series. And this was a book that is written in such a way that it is very good for someone who is potentially in a reading slump. I am like a week out from flying home to the US, and that's always when my brain is moving a mile a minute and I can't focus on anything. So this is wonderful because the chapters, for better or for, I think the first time I read it, it was more fun this way, but the chapters are really short. They're in different POVs, and they're sometimes just like 2 pages. So everything is just like bop, 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 bop. Which again, I think the first time I read it was more fun and is good for people who their attention span is a little shaky. It's about, there is a scheme to kill the immortal king. How do you kill an immortal? That's a fun question. So the kind of spy master wrangles together a group of assassins of various flavors. And yeah, I'm just rereading it to see where it goes. I seem to remember that there was a twist at the end, and I don't remember the twist. So, always a good time. I'm drinking some chamomile tea in my Moomin mug. I was able to really quickly film another video that I'm working on once they finished construction and before dinner. So that was good. And yeah, I'm sorry. I started this video in the mood to read, and just because of life, I am not in the mood to read. So we're gonna try and do this. It's also, I don't know why I'm doing this, because this is a trilogy, so it's not even like the next book is the end. I'm just gonna have another cliffhanger to hang off of. So I'll catch you tomorrow, where I think I can talk more coherently. All right? Hello, friends. I can finally talk. My neighbors are done with their construction. How are we doing? It's been a while since I sat down and spoke. Some fun bookish things that have happened since we last spoke. I finished Toward Eternity by Anton, and I really loved the beginning. It kind of lost me at the 75% mark, I'm gonna say. It's a short book. It's about a world where it spans unknown but vast swaths of time. And we start sort of at the beginning of this new technology where they use nanites to completely replace your body as kind of like a cure for cancer. So part of it is looking at, where sort of is the soul located? Like, where is the self, if you get your whole body rebuilt with nanites? Like, are you still you? And how can you express you? And how do you become you? And it all kind of hinges around language because Anton Her is first and foremost a translator. So I really liked the discussions about language and how it's the only tool that we have, but it's not good enough to really capture, like, there are things that you just are indescribable. Doesn't mean they don't exist, it just means that language can't capture them, you know? So I really liked the beginning, and then it just sort of lost me, for lack of a better word. And so there's that. And then I went to a new bookstore here in Seoul, and I bought books. Ironically, the day before I had my book swap. So if you live in Seoul, I hope you follow me on Instagram, because that's where I really was able to talk about it. Yeah, we had a little book sale swap. If you wanted to sell your books, you could. If you wanted to just kind of give your books away for free, you could. We had a really great turnout. I was pleasantly surprised, and pretty much every book got taken. There were people who were moving and so hoping that they could leave empty-handed, and then there were people who were leaving with like stacks of books. So yeah, a success. I always love meeting bookish people. It was very cute, and hopefully we're gonna try and make that a more regular, potentially seasonal thing. So every 3 or so months, getting together to kind of swap some books. So that was wonderful. If you came, thank you so much. And now I am working my way through 5 Broken Blades, 4 Ruined Realms. So I read 5 Broken Blades last year when it came out, in the midst of one of those reading slumps where I was still reading, but I was not having a good time. Like, I was not enjoying a single thing I picked up. I was just very frustrated. And here's the thing about 5 Broken Blades, without any spoilers, it is easy to eat up because the POVs are so short. I think I already said this. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, but they're just so short, and they always end on like a little cliffhanger. So it was just so easy to read, and I thought it was good. It's not a heist. They are trying to kill someone at the end, but just the kind of motley crew on a mission vibes were very reminiscent of Six of Crows. But what I did like, because I famously said better than Six of Crows in some ways, what I do like about these characters is that they are of an age where I can understand their job. Like, nothing but love to Kaz, but you are so young to be doing the things that you're doing, and I just, it took me out of it a little bit. So at least with these characters, they're older. And also, I didn't remember, upon reading 5 Broken Blades, I forgot how some of these characters are not morally gray. They are just like fully gray. What am I trying to say? Especially the prince character. The more I learn about him, the more I hate him. And I understand that, like, if you have gone missing, if you've like gone into hiding for 3 years, yeah, maybe you can grow as a person. But like, some of the stuff that he has done in his past, I'm like, pardon? Like, she kind of went hard. Like, the author did not make her characters likable. There's one character, 1.5. There's one character that I fully like. There's 2 characters that I half like. So let's say 2.25 likable characters in this book, if you mush them all together. And she just kind of didn't care. Like, I feel like authors sometimes, especially now when we have the kind of like, we love a bad boy trope, we love a morally gray character, I feel like authors will give us something to latch onto and be like, oh, but maybe he murdered people, but he's also a softie, and like, oh, maybe he has trauma, whatever. She just made bad people that like don't have an excuse. They're just kind of bad. I'm specifically talking about the prince. I'm just like, why? He has no... Anyway, so that being said, I think it's a book that is best on its first read. Reading it again, it was sort of like too quick. I was sort of getting annoyed by the cliffhanger endings. Upon my first read, again, circumstances, I was in a reading slump. I had a really good time with it. So I think it just kind of depends on what how your brain is working at that exact moment. So now I am reading Four Ruined Realms, and I gotta say, reading these two back to back is difficult because of that choppy writing style. So I made it to page 100, which is a quarter of the book. I'm kind of dreading reading it because it's just, you can only take so much of that choppy writing. And also she's doing this thing now where it used to be, because they were all separated on their mission, it used to be that like, let's look over here and see what they're doing. And then let's look over here and see what they're doing. But now that they're all together, we're getting the same scene from different POVs. Just like the handoff, like a split second, everybody is showing their reaction to this thing. And it's like, I'm a little tired of it. I'm going to continue, but I really, really want to get into reading out before I go. Let me get it. I really want to read out before, it's 500 something pages. I want to finish this before I go to the US because I'm not bringing this with me. And when I get back from the US, I'm going straight to Japan. So I would like to finish this because if I don't do it now, it won't be until March. So let's finish. Oh, but I have so many good books out from the library. I don't know, man. Okay, so yeah, this will be maybe. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna make some tea. I'm gonna finish this and I'll see you a bit later. I feel like I'm not gonna do any check-ins because it's just more of the same from 5 Broken Blades. So off we go. Checking in, quick break from my Twin Peaks marathon. Rest in peace, David Lynch. I cannot finish Four Ruined Realms, and it's not necessary. It could be the book's fault, but I think it's also just reading the first and the second book back to back, that writing style. I've said it a million times in this video already. I just can't do it. I'm not interested in, like in the first book, nobody trusts each other and they have a reason to. You just felt like, God damn it, if we all just got along, we could end this real quick. You know, like if teamwork makes the dream work, this could be great. Now they, once again, don't trust each other. They have a good reason. But it just feels so like I've been on this ride before, and the kind of cliffhanger endings are getting more cliffhanger-y and a little hokey. So I put it down at 49%. I'm gonna return to it, but just not now. I've got too many library books. I'm not reading out yet. Instead, I finished in like a day and a half. I read 10 minutes and 38 seconds in This Strange World. It is by the same author as The Island of Missing Trees, which I know a lot of people loved. I didn't read that one, but just so you know. That one was really interesting and like very dark and sad, so go into it like with the right headspace. But it's about our main character named Layla, and she has just been murdered. And the first part of the book is going through, you know how like your life flashes before your eyes? Well, in her case, her like body is dead, like her heart has stopped beating, but her consciousness, her brain is still kind of firing for 10 minutes and 38 seconds. And so every minute we get kind of a new flashback and we learn about her life and how she came to be here. And then it ends up being a story about her friends and the people that she left behind and what they do and how they're part of her story, and what, you know, how they react to her death and stuff like that. And I really liked it. I feared at first, I thought for some reason the whole book was just going to be her flashbacks, but I really liked then following the friend group. Like it felt very, like right when I kind of started to get a little bit tired of that narration, we switched into learning about these new people. And if you like reading about Istanbul, it was very much about the city as well as the people who live there. So I actually really liked it. And right now I'm speeding through a recommendation by my friend Rose from the Control Your Shelf podcast, one of her favorite books of the year. I'm reading The Eyes Are the Best Part. It feels very much like if you like Yellowface, like the kind of dark humor, like this is horror, whereas Yellowface was, I think, more meant to be like a little bit comedic. This is first and foremost a work of horror, but it's about a girl who's Korean American, and her mom starts dating this new guy who's a white guy. Our main girl, the daughter, becomes really obsessed with his blue eyes and starts to have these like horrible visions and dreams about how much she wants to eat his eyes, because her mom has always said like eating fish eyes is good luck. And so she just gets kind of like, it's gruesome and gnarly, but just the characterizations of like stereotypical racist white man, specifically like a white man who thinks he understands Asian culture because he served in the Korean War, and when he tries to speak Korean, like no one can understand him, and like just quite funny. And then there's also another character that she goes to school with that's like very typical, how timely, but very typical like young white liberal guy who is obsessed with having the label of feminist when he's actually just a creep. So I'm having a good time. It's really quick to read, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. She is contemplating murder, and I am ready for her to stick a knife in this man 100%. So that's actually what I've been doing. Now I'm just watching. I'm on episode 3. Gonna try and fit at least half of the first season in tonight. I've got my tea. I'm camped out. But yeah, I'll give you an update. Let's see what I can finish for the rest of the weekend. And then honestly, I have to kind of pack. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. But yeah, man, 4 Ruined Realms, really thought I was gonna be able to give you my thoughts, but my thoughts are just, I can't take it. I can't take it. So, cool. See you later. The Eyes Are the Best Part. 10 minutes and 38 seconds in this strange world. Recommend. Enjoy. Hi, guys. So, good news and bad news. Bad news, I haven't picked 4 Ruined Realms up again. And it's, like I said, not completely the book's fault. I'm just not in the place where I need it right now. When I need an incredibly fast-paced, just like bop, 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 bop kind of book, I know it will be there for me, but I just don't need that right now. I can't even show you outside of my window right now. It's so bad. Like I literally can't see out my window. The air is so dirty. So I'm doing some home chores today. We've got a load of laundry in, gonna mop today. Anyway, the good news is I started another book that I was originally planning on saving for the airplane that I'm going on in 4 days because, you know, I read romances on the flight, but for some reason, nothing else was calling me. I have officially run out of time. There's no way if I start out now, I will not finish it. So I was like, let's look at a shorter book, something that's like easier to consume. And I started 7 Days in June. I got this out of the library a couple months ago, and just time, it wasn't happening. So I got it this time to read it on the airplane, and I started it last night. I'm at 23% already, and I'm really enjoying it. It's about I haven't gotten that far into it, so like I don't know the full stakes, but it's about 2 authors. We have Eva, who is famous for writing when she was 19, she wrote this like epic, still ongoing series, kind of romantasy about a witch and a vampire that has been her claim to fame, but she's ready to move on to other things, but that pays the bills. She has a daughter she needs to think of. She's a single mom. So she's very just like, I get through the day, you know, like that's the goal. She has some kind of chronic illness. So she's just in a lot of pain all the time, but she's funny. Okay. She's funny. Then we have Shane, who I haven't learned too much about yet, but he's sort of like a media darling because he is this young, incredibly handsome Black man with this history of he went through juvie and all of this stuff. So he's like, according to like the literary world, like shouldn't be this generation defining author, but the way that he writes is so captivating and just, he picks up every award that he's up for, you know, stunning. And apparently these two have a history, even though they are both like young, successful Black authors who should be running, like they run in the same literary circles. They should be bumping into each other. They've managed to avoid each other for 12 years until today. And we're learning what's the dealio. I literally just got to the part where they knew each other in high school. So it's really good so far. And this is exactly what I need in between all my little chores. I've just bought a really big coffee. And yeah, I like to clean my house thoroughly before I go on a trip so that I can come home to a clean house. So that's what I'm gonna be doing today. I'm very excited to talk more about 7 Days in June. Excellent stuff. So. Okay, hello everyone. I had to take a quick break to go to the office to film some TikToks for work. So I'm gonna make some tea. I am now 40-something% through this book, really enjoying it. The flashbacks, I think it's just an issue for me, but the flashbacks get a little confusing because we have like days of the week, and then we also have like present day is labeled by the days of the week, and then we have these flashbacks to 2004. And for some reason, I just like, there's a split second. Every time I start a chapter, I'm like, ooh, unless it's directly labeled 2004, I'm like, where are we? I think that both of their backstories and their like present day struggles are really interesting. And I'm just so drawn in, intrigued. I'm very happy that I chose to read this though, not on an airplane. It's not exactly a book that I would want to read in one sitting, and that's not a bad thing. I think this is a book that like is better when you kind of sit with it and let the characters kind of breathe. So as my tea gets noisy, I will leave you, but let's finish it tonight. We're gonna drink some throat coat. I really hate licorice, but this does the trick. If you have a sore throat. Oh, and I also think that this is going to end up being like also an ode to New York City. They are currently on like their first, not date, but like attempting to become friends again. It's just for someone who is about to go back to New York City, I'm like this. Granted, going back to New York City in January/February is different from New York City in June, but perfect timing. The book is finished. I read from 47% to the end. I know I said that I didn't want to read this all in one go. Wow, that was messed up. How long that epilogue was. I was really scared for everybody. To the last page, I was scared for everybody. That epilogue was sick and twisted. I did really like it. It was quite different from the romances I usually read because I tend to read romantic comedies, and while the characters were funny and they had there was comedy in it, it was definitely much darker, especially talking about like their 7 days in June when they were kids was very dark. Some things happened that I didn't expect, and yeah, it just was unlike any book I have read thus far. Glad I did not read that on the airplane because I was stressed. My throat was tight because I had anxiety for the last 20, 30, 40 pages. I recommend. That was a great way to end. Funny that I started and ended this video with romance books that were very intense, let's just say. So I'm going to end this video here because it's very late. I read deep into the night and I need to get to bed. So, and I need to start packing to get on my flight. So I will see you guys next time. I have some fun, interesting content. I might be doing some bookish things in New York. I don't know. So keep your eye out. Once again, thank you to the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. You can go to squarespace.com/caricanread to get 10% off your first website or domain. All that information will be in the description box. Thanks for being on this journey with me. Unexpected, because I really thought I was just gonna read the favorites and then 5 Broken Blades, 4 Ruined Realms, and instead I just picked up a bunch of random books, and it turned out to be a very interesting week and a half, 2 weeks perhaps. Thanks for coming along. So okay, hope you're all well. Let me know what you thought if you've read any of these books. If you've finished 4 Ruined Realms, let me know how it was, and catch you next time. Bye.